Hi class, today we're talking about lesson 6-2 rates and proportions, and I'm in your binder on page 5. So, a rate is a ratio that compares two quantities with different units of measure. Now, it should be written in very light gray font on your paper, but if you need to, you can always copy that in. So a rate is a ratio that compares two quantities with different measure. A unit rate is a rate where the denominator is always 1, or we use the word per. So if you need to, write that in so that you can see it a little bit darker. If not, make sure you underline that word per. So some examples are miles per hour. And I'm going to write that out because we use that slash to tell us that in between those two words is per. This one, feet per second. And like before, this is very light gray on your paper, so if you need to darken it, go ahead. Feet per second. And then the next one is dollars per hour. And an important thing to remember is when we're looking at rates, and especially at unit rates, money is always going to go on top. So make sure you add that note. And that means on top of the fraction. So it says directions, find the unit rate. So if we look here, we're comparing dollars to gallons. So I'm going to put my little label like we did last class. Dollars to gallons. And it wants a unit rate. Remember, a unit rate has the denominator of 1. So I'm comparing dollars, so I have $306 to 60 gallons. And I want to know how much for 1 gallon, that denominator of 1. So I'm going to cross multiply just like I would solve a regular proportion. I get 60x is equal to 306. Divide by 60 on both sides. And I'm left with x is equal to 5.1. Now, 5.1 we have to translate into money because the x is missing in that money category. So if we change 5.1 into money, we get $5.10. Remember, we need 2 places after the decimal for money. And it's going to be per gallon. Per whatever the 1 was at. So $5 per gallon. $5.10 per gallon. And that's going to be my answer for that one. Okay, you try 2, 3, and 4 on your own. Actually, you know what? Let's do number 2 on your own first. And when you're ready, unpause the video and I'll go over number 2 with you, and then you can try 3 and 4. So pause the video here. Alright, let's talk about number 2 really quick. If we set up number 2, we're comparing feet and seconds. So we have feet to seconds. I have given from my problem, I have 2,400 feet in 12 seconds. And I want a unit rate, so I'm going to say how many feet in 1 second. I'm going to cross multiply. When I do that, I get 12x is equal to 2,400. Divide by 12 on both sides. And I'm left with x is equal to 200. And I have feet per second. That's going to be the label. Feet per second. And that's my unit rate right there. Okay? So now go ahead, try 3 and 4 by yourself. When you're ready, unpause the video and we'll check them together. All right, let's go over number 3. So I'm comparing apples to people. I have 72 apples for 12 people. I want to know the unit rate, so I want how many apples for one person. Cross multiply. 12x is equal to 72. Divide by 12 on both sides. And I'm left with x is equal to 6. And I'm going to come over here and look at my label. And it's apples per person. So 6 apples per person is the answer for number 3. And in number 4, I'm comparing breaths to minutes. So I have breaths to minutes. I have 36 breaths in 3 minutes. I want to know the unit rate, so I want to know how many breaths in 1 minute. Cross multiply, I have 3x equals 36. Divide by 3 on both sides. When I do that, I'm left with x equals 12. And for my label, I come back over here. I have breaths per minute. So breaths per minute is my answer for that one. All right. Let's look at number 5. So it says Fred bought 4 sodas for $5. How much did he pay per soda? As soon as I see that per there, that is telling me that it is a unit rate. So just like before, I'm comparing sodas and money. Those are the two things I'm comparing. Remember, money is always on top. So money to soda. I have $5 for 4 sodas. But I want the unit rate. So I want to know how much money for 1 soda. Cross multiply just like I would before. 4x is equal to 5. Then I need to divide by 4 on both sides. And I'm left with x is equal to 1.25. And I need to make that money. So it's $1.25 per soda. Remember, you come over here and you're looking at the label here, dollar per soda. Okay. Let's look down below. Let's do number 6 together. Jenny purchased 6 cans of soup for $9. How much did she pay per can? That's telling you unit rate. So my money goes on top, money, and then we have cans. So I have $9 for 6 cans, and because it's a unit rate, I want to know how many dollars for 1 can. Cross multiply. 6 times x is 6x. 9 times 1 is 9. Then I need to get x by itself. I divide by 6 on both sides. I'm left with x equals 1.5. I need to make it money because that's where the x is missing. So it turns into $1.50 per can. Okay, I want you to try 7 and 8, and then we'll talk about number 9 before you try number 9. So go ahead, try 7 and 8, and then we'll talk about number 9 together. So pause the video here. Alright, let's talk about number 7. If a gear revolved 960 times in 30 minutes, how many revolutions happened in 1 minute? Well, right there, that's telling you unit rate, that 1 minute thing. So I'm looking at revolutions, so revs and minutes. So I have 960 revs in 30 minutes is equal to how many revolutions in 1 minute? Cross multiply. 30x equals 960. divide by 30 on both sides, and I'm left with x is equal to 32 revolutions per minute. And that's my final answer. Remember, you get the label for it from the side over here, whatever's on top per what's on the bottom. Number 8, if you can type 120 words in 3 minutes, what is my rate per minute? Right there, that's telling you unit rate. So I have words and minutes. I have 120 words in 3 minutes, and it wants to know the per, that unit rate. So x words in 1 minute. Cross multiply, and I'm left with 3x is equal to 120. Divide by 3 on both sides. So x equals 40, and then my label, words per minute. That's my final answer for that one. Alright, and let's talk about number 9 really quick, because number 9 can be kind of tricky. So if we read this one, it says a cougar can run 5,280 feet in 4 minutes. So we have to pay attention to units, because in this it says how many feet per second. So that's per right there is telling you unit rate, but it's asking in seconds. So it's asking how many seconds are in a minute. So we need to first figure out, if there's 4 minutes, how many seconds, because it wants to know feet per second. So there are 60 seconds in 1 minute, but I want to multiply it by 4 minutes. When I do that, I end up with 240 seconds. So now that I've converted this 4 minutes into 240 seconds, now I can set up my unit rate. So now I'm comparing feet to seconds, which is what we want in our final answer here. So I have 5,280 feet in 240 seconds, and I want to know how far in 1 second. Cross multiply, I'm left with 240. X is equal to 5,280. Divide by 240 on both sides. And I'm left with x is equal to 22, and I'm going to use my units here, feet per second. Okay? Alright, so that is page 5 in your binder. Once you finish this video, there's 2 other short videos for you to watch in Vision, and then once you watch those 2 short videos, you can go on and you can do pages 6 and 7 in your binder. Okay, have a great day.